Everybody, welcome back to Living Your True Self podcast with Michael Pino. We're going through his excerpts from his book. If you haven't heard about his story, it's pretty fascinating. And today we've got a very special one for you. You want to tell him what it's called?
Yeah, I found it here on my Substack that you can also look up. And it was here a minute ago.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I know. It just disappears.
Technical difficulties already.
But, there they are. All the beautiful stories and Substack articles and podcasts. So you can look them up. It's a lot of fun. And I keep adding. This one is Rebound at the Spike.
Rebound at the Spike. I'm going to assume by the name of that, the Spike was a club in New York?
It was a really hot leather bar on the West Side Highway.
This in what year roughly was this going on? Rebound at the Spike.
I know exactly when, because I was breaking up with someone in 1992.
So 1992 this was.
And it was the Rebound.
Some little filly broke your heart.
He was no little filly. He was a big old Bronco.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And he, did he betray you?
He did not betray me.
Okay.
I like to say that we're quite aware of the relationship we're in. And so he was giving me a mirror to see where I was at. He was mirroring back to me, what do I want in my life?
What does that mean?
So he comes to me.
So he was everything you wanted to be.
Well, he was everything I was seeking outside of my source,
Right.
outside of my center. So I was seeking gratification outside of me.
Okay.
And there ensued the problem. So once I'm seeking outside, you're going to make me filled. Did not happen.
Wow. So this sounds like maybe you betrayed him.
I betrayed myself.
A lot of betrayal going on here, I think.
It was enlightening. It was all good.
In 1992, you were how old?
Oh, 29?
29.
93, I would have been 30.
So you're obviously at this point full out, just popping anal sex everywhere you get the opportunity to do so. Just leather clubs, back of cars, everywhere. So,
Yes.
All right. Well, let's hop into this one then. I'm curious how this is going to go.
I am too.
What's this guy's name? Or can we not say it?
I don't think we should.
No?
No.
I think we should.
He's still alive.
Okay.
No. The guy that I'm rebounding from,
Got it.
his name is Steven.
Steven. Okay.
You know who you are.
Steven, if you're watching.
If you're watching.
You're about to get torn apart here, I think.
No. No, we hardly mention him.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, take it away.
Summertime in New York City is hot. And 1992 was no exception. My nurse colleagues from New York Hospital and myself rented cottages on Cherry Grove, Fire Island. The females had their own cottage, and I was with my guy friends who I had been renting with previous years. Katie Lang's new album was out, and I went with my boyfriend at the time, Stephen, to see her on August 28th, 1992, at Radio City Music Hall in Manhattan. Constant Craving was one of the hit songs that year, before my sobering year began. As you know from my podcast, 1993 is when I got sober.
How did that song go? Do you remember?
Constant craving.
Cravings.
Just like that. Okay. I want to sing. I actually paid a voice coach, and my friends told me she was robbing me because I can't sing.
Yeah, some people I just don't think have it.
I was fearful of really belting.
Yeah.
I think now, that was like many years ago. I think now I could belt.
Okay.
But
I don't think
I'll
so.
let you be the judge. Back to my story.
Anyway.
So Constant Craving, awesome song. Awesome album was Ingenue, was Katie Lang's album. It was to be my theme. I remember being so happy the night we saw Katie Lang perform there. Yet there was always a longing for a deeper connection with my boyfriend. It's kind of what we were talking about. I was unable to choose a boyfriend who was not so elusive. I neglected my friends on Fire Island and the good times they were having while I chased my ideal dream in New York City. My dream was a loyal boyfriend, and yet this was not to be so. How could it be with me seeking from someone else what I needed to find in myself.
And see, that's the part I was asking you earlier. So does that mean like you were seeking loyalty, but you weren't able to be loyal to somebody else? Like you wanted the boyfriend who was good to you, but you wanted to be able to do whatever you wanted.
That's a whole nother podcast, honey. We'll get into that.
I don't know. It sounds like this is what we're talking about.
It might
that's
be.
what I'm taking from it.
All right, let's see where it flows.
Okay. All right.
Let's see where it flows.
I'll try to stop interrupting.
Because no, what you're saying is interesting. So no, I was pretty loyal to the boyfriend, and then, but he was mirroring back to me of the freedom you're speaking of.
Use a different term than mirroring back to me, so I can try to understand this.
Okay.
Better. How else can you say that?
My inner workings of my mind, what I'm creating, is reflected in the things happening around me. So I like to say that your consciousness is creating the effect of your life. So the effect is what is actually going on.
Okay.
So if you go, well, who's that boyfriend? Why is he doing that?
Yeah.
He's not doing anything. He is the effect of my consciousness.
Oh, okay. So that makes more sense.
On some level, like you said, I'm not being loyal on some level. And I say I'm not being loyal to myself. What's interesting, folks, is I hadn't read this in a really long time. And he randomly, no random events happen. He asked me this question, and then I'm reading this, and I'm like, oh my God, that's how we opened this.
Yeah.
I did not know that was going to pop up.
Crazy. The world
It's
is
all
crazy.
good stuff.
Yeah. Keep going.
Here we go. So, how could it be with me seeking someone from someone else what I needed to find in myself? Self-love and respect. We met a while back when we were both intoxicated at my favorite leather bar, the Spike. My hunting ground. It was located off the West Side Highway in Chelsea, next to the meatpacking district. No pun intended. Austin. I would walk down from the subway station on 23rd Street and past the most beautiful seminary. It belonged to the Episcopal Church located between 20th and 21st Street and 9th and 10th Avenue in Chelsea. The buildings and courtyard gardens were from the early 1800s with large wrought iron fencing surrounding the property. I was always fascinated with its beauty and tranquility. I was very attracted to the peace and serenity I felt as I walked by this sacred place. It is what I was chasing after in the clubs, yet did not know how to find such peace in myself until much later in sobriety. Meanwhile, I was on my way to worship another kind of spirituality in the leather clubs. There were 3 leather bars very close to each other back when I lived in Manhattan between 1991 and 1996. The Spike was one of them, the DK Zone was another, and the Eagle. I made good use of all of them. Mostly, I was on the prowl for hot sex at these bars, and I always scored. I was in my 20s and had lots of energy when not working my 12-hour nursing shifts. My doorman kept an eye out for me and was often making sure I was safe after seeing the rough and tumble leathermen I liked to bring home. I remember the night I met my boyfriend of 1992. We eyed each other up at the Spike. Already we were both pretty drunk. It was not that busy that night, and we had lots of room to move around with very little competition. We ended up at his place on Columbus Circle and became regular date buddies that year. I'm being polite. His doorman knew the drill, as well as he always had his choice of pickups as well. A clue that all was not well was the several cases of empty beer bottles neatly stacked in his apartment as soon as you walked in. I naively kept telling him I would help him remove them. It never dawned on me that these were new empty cases each time I visited. So we were 2 young alcoholic men, not able to really get to know each other through the cloudiness of constant binge drinking. We had some fun times for sure, yet I wanted more, and I was not able to get that from someone who was more into drinking than being in a new relationship. Mind you, I wasn't available as well, as I was drinking and not emotionally available too. Plus, he was coming off a relationship he felt wronged by. I was his rebound. Now let's get to my rebound. At the Spike. So my boyfriend and I had a dramatic breakup in a Thai restaurant on St. Mark's Place in the East Village of Manhattan.
At a Thai restaurant.
Yeah,
You couldn't keep it together long enough to get out of the restaurant?
Wait till you hear this. This is fun. I remember we were drunk and crying quite a bit.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine the scene?
Picture two young studs weeping openly. What do you mean? You want to break up with me?
Oh, boy.
I started heading for the front door. Him running behind me crying. The place was so packed with the usual East Village crowd, hardly giving us any notice. And that's New York for you. Like, you can murder somebody and to just
People just
walk right
by.
around you. Which was
Beautiful.
kind of nice. So I hailed a cab and said to the guy, "Take me to the Spike." And just like that, I disappeared into the New York City night. And I walked into the Spike right up to the hottest muscle-bound leather man I could find. I looked him right in the eye and said, "I just broke up with my boyfriend and I want to get fucked.
Ooh.
If you want to fuck me, follow me out the door." I turned around and walked out the door so fast, he jumped at this opportunity and almost tripped trying to get his leather jacket back on. Runs out after me. We hailed a cab to his Upper West Side apartment, tearing up the backseat of that cab the entire way.
You're a fucking psychopath. You understand that?
Do you want me to finish this story? Because we could take little side stories.
Oh, my God.
Are you getting excited?
Oh,
Austin?
this is incredible.
This is kind of what you've always been after. I'm finally giving it to you.
Yeah, this is the juicy stuff
I'm
here.
not withholding.
Okay, all right, go ahead and continue.
Okay, because we only have a few minutes.
Okay.
So, like I said, that cab ride was a trip. And that driver has
I was
never...
gonna say, what was this driver thing?
New York City cab drivers understand.
They've seen it all.
They've seen far worse than that.
Than just two guys just pounding each other.
He had a nice show. It was a nice long cab ride.
I just can't imagine that happening today, like in an Uber. And like, I mean, it probably does, but the people aren't like, what are y'all doing back there?
I mean, I don't know, honey. I'm not in that world anymore.
Wow,
I don't know.
unbelievable. Okay, go ahead.
So we flip-flop, fucked all night long. I did wind up crying in crying jags between our flip-flopping sessions, which, although were hot and heavy, it unnerved him a bit. I went home the next morning, and when I called him up later that day, he said he liked me a lot and I was super hot, but that I had a lot of work to do and work through before I could get back in the game. Mm-hmm. We were very attracted to each other, but that did not override my altered behavior. Clearly, he was someone who was not leading a drunken lifestyle. He was very kind and spoke to me at length about working through my breakup. It would take me a few more lessons to complete before sobriety took hold. It was still a great rebound. The Spike, last I heard, is now an art gallery.
Oh my God.
Drop the mic.
Oh my goodness gracious.
There you go.
Oh,
Any questions? How much time do we have?
So is that the guy that you were originally dating, the guy that y'all broke up in the Thai restaurant?
Steven.
Did he rebound right away too? Do you know, or you don't know?
He was rebounding constantly.
He was constantly rebounding.
Again, I was not being loyal to myself in my drunkenness.
You weren't.
I wasn't present for myself. Mm-hmm. So how could I attract anything other than someone who was also not present for themselves and me?
Well, do you think that's true with anybody in all relationships?
Absolutely.
So in the relationship I'm in now, it's a reflection of...
Don't get me in trouble. No. I'm very close to Stella. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, so you're saying that person has to... It's almost saying like they have to be a mirror version of me in order for it to work.
Not a mirror version of you. Mm-hmm. They're reflecting back to you what's in your consciousness. Because your consciousness is the effect of your current life.
Right.
So the people in your life are the effect of your consciousness.
I see.
So Stella is not you, but Stella is mirroring back, reflecting back the thoughts you have
About what I want
about
in a
life
partner,
in general.
or about life in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you want a loving, sincere, beautiful person who nurtures you and looks out for you and cares for you? The answer is clearly yes, because I know you both extremely well, and she does all that.
Yes.
So I would say yes.
Did you and Steven continue to, do what all couples do at that point and hook up and break up and hook up and break up and do that back and forth a bunch of times?
No, I never fucked him again.
Never again after the Thai restaurant day. It was over for good.
We still had contact
Uh-huh.
because we lived not far from each other in the city. And so occasionally I did see him, and we were civil. And at one point he wanted to, we wanted to like somehow get together, and just to get together. And I was like, no.
Yeah. Well,
So I was very immature. I was young, not drunk, not sober yet,
yeah.
drunken mindset.
Right. And so was this other guy, your rebound guy, did you continue to see him over and over after?
No, he was very healthy, and he was like, oh, no.
Yeah. He just basically used you and abused it for the
I
night.
mean, he was mirroring back to me where I could get to, where I could become.
Right.
He was very educated. He was very beautiful. He was very put together. He had a built apartment. He had a great job. He was an artist in terms of his culinary background and the restaurant. And we hit it off. I mean, I was drunk, but I remember the conversations, and I remember how sweet he was.
Yeah.
And we had hot and heavy, chemistry together. But that could not last. It was just the flame, the fireworks that night. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But, then afterwards, I wanted to see him.
Right.
And he very nicely explained where I was at.
Yeah.
It's almost like he'd been through it at some point in his life.
Poor guy. I mean, how awkward.
No, he's a poor guy. He got everything he wanted.
Well, but then he got somebody weeping and crying in the middle of it.
Honey, we turned it into a scene. It was fine.
Oh, man.
was just
I just can't
fine.
imagine what was going through his head.
Hot motherfucking sex, okay?
And what was going through your head? I mean, obviously you were thinking about
Hot
Steven. Well, no, but you started crying
Yes,
in the middle of it.
yes. I just had that scene in the Thai restaurant. Of course, I'm human.
I mean, was this the same day?
Yes.
It was all the same day. So you
Same
left
evening into the
So
next day.
You just walked out of that Thai restaurant, went
Boom,
right
boom.
to the
Spike.
and then got spiked.
I got right. Yes. Oh my God.
Oh,
yes.
my
I can't believe I didn't
word.
come up with that.
That's pretty
Stole
wild.
my line.
That's pretty wild. And so now, where is Steven now? He's still alive, you said? He's somewhere.
I think so.
You think
I
he's...
think so.
Yeah, so you don't keep any communication with him. Obviously, the Spike guy, you don't...
Lost touch. He might call me up after this.
Yeah,
Do
seriously.
you remember me?
Well, were you ever scared? Like, you said before, like the doorman would watch out for you because he would know the type of guys you would take in and out of there.
As an example, the responsible guy that I met at my Rebound, I remember to this day, it's fabulous. He used condoms the entire time. So we flip-flop so fast. He whipped out so many condoms and putting them on us, like he was so skilled.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying he was so responsible.
I'm not even saying scared in that way. I'm saying scared that like they might just, hurt you physically or rob you or...
I never operate like that in my life, and I don't attract that. So that goes back to your consciousness creates the effect. I do not operate that way, and I have not been, my life is not filled with that kind of drama. And I believe it's from what your consciousness, I always feel protected.
So do you
I
think...
don't walk into a fire, but I do feel protected.
Well, do you think these, like, I don't know, just using an example, like soccer moms or whatever who end up getting kidnapped and murdered on their jog around the neighborhood, do you think that's, they orchestrated that in their own head?
I think your fears, if you're jogging around and you're filled with, I'm going to get kidnapped, and that's what's in your mindset all the time. I'm not, I don't like to make blanket statements. But what I'm saying is a true thing. When your consciousness creates your reality. So what is happening to you, yes, without exception, what is happening to you is created by you in your mind.
Is that the same thing as like manifestation? Is that kind of what you're talking about?
To use a very,
Overdone term.
overdone term. Yes, you create it. Your consciousness creates the effect. The effect is your life, what's in your life.
It's so interesting.
Your glasses just moved by themselves.
Oh, you're kidding me.
So that's vision. You see, vision. You getting this?
Yeah, I understand. It's just interesting how, for some things like that example, you're saying
The kidnapping example.
Yeah, yeah. Your consciousness creates that to happen. But if I could think about like, hey, I'm going to be a millionaire, and I think about that all day, my consciousness
You doesn't mean
isn't
you're
just
going to be a millionaire. That's not your consciousness. Your consciousness is, do you feel abundant? You don't feel $1 million. Are you in the flow state of knowing that all is well? Are you in the flow state that all your needs are being met? If you're in that flow state, that consciousness of, I am always provided for. I listen to my intuition. I go out with action, with inspired action, and then receive. That's the flow state consciousness. That creates an effect of abundance, which can manifest in healthy relationships and a great healthy body and mind and soul and spiritual relationship with your higher power. It can relate to your bank account. So you don't go, I want $1 million, because that's not a consciousness of being abundant. That's actually scarcity. Because you're saying, I'm going to seek, I need the $1 million to be well and whole. And the opposite is true. When you can be well and whole, then what you need is provided for. Through your intuition, you take inspired action, and things, you manifest these things.
And you've like seen that come to life in your own world, in your own
Yes,
life?
and I've seen things crumble in my life dramatically. And I have to look at that and not go, oh, that happened. Why did that happen? Okay, think about it.
But some things just happen, don't they?
No. In my opinion, in my
And
world,
yeah.
in my studies of spirituality and the Course in Miracles,
Yeah.
no, you are creating it.
Remember when you were living in your place in Gulfport, your apartment there?
I do.
And then you had to leave because the landlord called and said there's mold and you got to get out of there. So you created that to happen.
Yeah, so I don't know if we've talked about this before, but so to give you an example of the depth of what I'm talking about, I was driving past the house that I live in now. Before I knew we even had to move. And I would look at that house and say, what is it like to live in that house? And I said it every single day, multiple times a day, because I'd pass it often. It was on a corner that I had to pass to go anywhere else. And then eventually there was this leak in my beautiful apartment that I loved. I had just put up all the artwork. Everything was just perfect. And I had to move within 7 days because they found mold. And health reasons, I had to get out. The landlord said, you must go, and we have to tear everything up, and sorry. So this is what happened. And then I went and found an apartment. First, I looked at 3 apartments with another, like a property manager, and they were horrible. And I just said, oh, no, absolutely not. I would never live like this. Sorry. And this is more money than what I'm living now? No. So no. I say no. This all happened very quickly, within under 24 hours.
Wow.
And then I go past the house again, and there's a for rent sign on it. Now, not only is there a for rent sign on it, but a very dear friend of mine of over 7 years also has to move at the same time. And he's this very healthy, very fit guy that I'm really close with and I was always enamored with. And it's like, wow, this amazing guy, let me just tell him it's kind of funny that I have to move too. And he calls right back and says, oh my God, we got to move in together. He goes, by the way, you're going to lose 60 pounds in 6 months because I know how to cook. I'm going to teach you to cook. And you're not going to eat out anymore. You eat out 3 times a day and you're not going to do that anymore.
Wow.
You're going to see the health happen. And in one Now it's been a year. I'm in the new home. Amazing physical changes, which you can attest to. Mm-hmm. You've known me for several years. Mm-hmm. Body, mind, and soul changes. The podcast, the book, everything is rolling in that flow state, that abundant flow state. Mm-hmm. So you asked me about the golf board home and the leak, and that is the manifestation. Part of my consciousness wanted something greater.
Right.
And it happened in I want to say a snap, like that, like boof. I was in an amazing home, a large, gorgeous home with everything I could have wanted,
right.
which I didn't have before. I didn't have a garage, an indoor washer dryer, and a big yard, and lots of gorgeous space. And another piece to that story is I would collect these really nice pieces of furniture. Every other year I'd buy a really nice piece. And I would keep them in my little apartments that I had. Mm-hmm. And when I moved into this new house, it's like I was curating this house. Mm-hmm. And my friend, Dan Kelly, says, it's like we live in a rich man's ski lodge. Because it has that really designer look. Mm-hmm. And so again, spirit has your back. Your consciousness is always creating. My consciousness wasn't ready for what I had right now. Right. It was slowly collecting the pieces.
I love
that.
And
now it's all curated.
All right. So, so moving into this house obviously changed your life. You lost a bunch of weight. You look great. You're in a better space, better mind space. Do you think you would just stay if that whole thing didn't happen, you'd just still be in the same place?
I think my consciousness would have created something.
Something else.
Yeah. And so that's just what was chosen at that time. Mm-hmm. All the players came together at that moment to assist me in this journey. I even met a amazing online coach, Kyle Lessard. Shout out to Kyle. Mm-hmm. And again, how did that even happen?
I don't know.
So I'll tell you. I was meditating on the beach, on one of my favorite beaches, Paso Beach here in Pinellas County, which reminds me of Cherry Grove Fire Island. It has that laid-back vibe. And there I was meditating, and it's 2:20, and my phone buzzes. It's Kyle Lessard. 2:20 for me is a big number because my very good friend Bull, who was my dear friend and meditation teacher, just all-around buddy, and he died at 2:20 a.m. on 2/20/2000. So forever after the 2:20 is like a touchstone for me and him. Mm-hmm. And he was a bodybuilder as well. I see he would always rib me a little bit because I wasn't always heavy, but I was not a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And so it's 2:20 when this phone rings, buzzes. And I said, Kyle, what's up? He's like, yeah, I see you might be interested in this. And you entered some lottery that he had, and you got it. You get the discounted, service I provide. Mm-hmm. And it's ended up being quite amazing. Kyle is as spiritual as I am and a very gifted and knowledgeable nutrition coach, physical coach, life coach. He works with Tony Robbins coaches. Oh, wow. So it's turned out to be something really big. And again, how did that happen, right? Because my consciousness created the effect. Mm-hmm. I never knew how to work out because I was so heavy at the time. And my knees hurt, my ankles hurt. And I thought, well, I can't work out because it hurts.
Right.
Like, I don't know how to do this.
Right.
And the universe said, all right, honey, you're ready. We're going to give you Dan Kelly. Dan Kelly's going to get you started. Mm-hmm. And it's going to guide you along the way. And then I'm going to drop Kyle in there. And we got Kyle going on.
So how much have you lost now altogether?
60 pounds.
60 pounds. That's a lot. How does it make you feel different in any way?
I am moving with ease. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Where before, I was having fun. I didn't mind my big body, but it was the ache a little bit was like, oh, you're getting up there in age, so you don't want to really always be hurting when you're walking.
Yeah.
so it wasn't like hugely dissatisfactory to me. Other people were like, "Oh, you're so big now," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's kind of fun."
It's fun.
Other than the ankles and the knees.
Right.
So, say that again.
So I was just asking, how has your life changed since losing
Yeah.
65
So I would say the ease of movement. And so the ease of movement, not only physically, but it's opened up all other avenues of movement, which again, I'm now focused on this book quite heavily. It should be done shortly with editing and published with Amazon and Platypus Publishing. And my Course in Miracle Studies has taken on new focus.
Right.
I mean, I never did the daily lessons in the course. I've been on and off with the course since 1991.
The Course in Miracles?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, What is that exactly? Is it?
Honey, you got to Google that.
Is it a church?
It's not a church at all. But you must Google that. That is Google.
Okay.
I'm not skilled enough to really articulate a lot about the Course in Miracles, but many people are.
Got it.
Many
Okay,
people.
so watch some YouTube videos on it.
Watch some YouTube on A Course in Miracles. Alan Cohen,
Uh-huh.
the teacher that I attend, Paul
Yeah.
Cardillo. Just really, really very well-versed, articulate people can talk about it because it's a very heavy course, in my opinion. It talks about how this is kind of an illusion. And so it takes away what you think is your reality, which is very
kind of scary.
It's scary for people. It's very jarring for people, which is why I don't want to elaborate on it at this point. At some point, I maybe feel comfortable, but I'd say if you Google it, and Alan Cohen is a great teacher.
Okay.
He's really, really got it down.
That story you read to us today about the spike, is there more stories like that in your book?
There are. There are.
Oh, that's incredible. All right. Well, anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up for today's episode?
I feel we touched on some deep topics and that we could go more in depth, but maybe not after such hard nights.
Well, tell me what those topics are. I'm here for it.
Okay. No, I just think the consciousness topics is really what's paramount. Like I always talk to you, Jelly. I talk to you almost. And I say, we get up and our job, our mission as humans is to just go eyeball to eyeball with people and to be loving and kind.
Right.
And we don't really know why we're showing up for somebody. All the interactions you have, whether with the valet person, like when we're driving here, so the valet person, and then the head desk person, and then the gal who's working the coffee shop, and we had interesting interactions with them. So when you show up, you don't know what smiling at that person did for them. You don't know that they were just suicidal that day.
Right.
But something about you and your buoyancy shifts them to, well, maybe I'm not so upset. Maybe something's going wrong. This guy, this crazy happy dude is here. I don't know why he's here in front of me making me laugh. So you shift people and you don't know why you shift people.
Right.
And to me, that's a theme, is to just be your authentic self. Be your true self with no filter. And then spirit can move right through you and connect with every single person you're in contact with. It's effortless.
Yeah.
Just be you don't have to think. You don't have to filter. You don't have to gauge. What should I say? What shouldn't I say? Where should I? Just show up.
But do you ever, there's got to be moments where you can't be in that happy-go-lucky mood.
Why not?
So, I don't know, because sometimes you have a bad day, bad things happen, a deal doesn't go through, or whatever.
Yeah, so you react, the more you practice being true to yourself, being loving and kind to yourself, and therefore to others. Always have to be true, loving and kind to yourself first. You cannot be that to others. Life is always going to throw shit at you. It's a crazy world. It's an illusion, okay? It's bullshit. And so as it comes at you, you're able to see past it. You're able to see past it and past the illusion and not get caught up in the drama and you will watch it drop away. So, and this is an example. So the more you get centered, the more life, ego, will come at you with crazy to pull you back into the dream. Okay,
Is that what you found?
I have found this.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, not too long ago, I think I may have talked about it. I'm sitting in a little coffee shop having my little bagel and Novalox and just loving it and having a great time with everyone. And all of a sudden, there's this major accident right outside the window. Fire, smoke, pole comes down, lights go out everywhere, including where I'm sitting. People screaming and yelling. And I'm just sitting, this little family with like 4 kids who are just they're just kind of mute, like looking. Because they're just little kids. They don't know what to do. The adults are going bananas, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there going, oh, isn't this interesting? Look at this. Now, the helpers were there. There were people at the site where the car needed to be pulled out of the car. It was on flames. So people were helping, and everything was being handled. There was no need to get insane. But there were certain people flipping out.
Yeah.
And I just said to the kids, I said, don't worry, kids. Everything's going to be fine. You could see everybody's getting help. Just relax. Their mother was there with them, but she was on the phone. And the kids were just kind of, oh, my God. Not saying anything. So, but that was an example of, do I choose to get sucked into this fake illusionary distraction or stay centered? Again, your consciousness creates the effect. So my effect was complete calm in the middle of a blown up car right outside the window.
Does it take a lot of practice and exercise to keep that kind of?
It takes daily.
mindset?
It takes daily practice.
Daily practice.
So just yesterday, I am doing my steps. I take a friend to a surgery procedure, and I'm doing my steps, and I'm on the phone doing business during my steps, and I don't even notice a 6-car accident happening in front of me.
Right.
Like, it's a little bit of ways, but I should have even heard it. And so I'm just doing my thing. I'm having a ball. I'm having a freaking ball. Getting the steps, a gorgeous day. I'm helping my friend out and having these great conversations. And all of a sudden, I finish the last conversation, and I look in front of me, and I see it. I go, how did that just happen?
Yeah.
Like, cracked up cars everywhere.
Right.
People on the ground,
Oh,
laying.
gosh.
I'm like, okay, well, I will walk up on this. And again, I'm very calm. I'm a former nurse. I will walk up and see what's going down. Everybody was stable. The ambulance was coming. It was at this point, the ambulance, because I was like, why isn't there an ambulance here? But then I hear the ambulance in the distance. And so I see the lights in the distance. And it's so, again, your consciousness creates your effect. So the drama, all this drama, literally, I walked right through it.
Wow.
I didn't see it happen.
Right.
I walked right through it. I checked everyone. Everybody was stable. I kept going. And that is an example of where are you at? Are you in the accident? Are you on the ground? Are you ripped up? Are you in flames? Are you able to walk through the drama? See past it. It doesn't mean you're not compassionate to people going through stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, when someone's weeping, you weep with them. Okay, I'm not saying you don't stand there and go, this is an illusion, honey, don't worry about it. I'm not saying that.
That's what it sounds like.
I am not saying that. I know that's what this one is thinking. That is not what I'm saying. And you know that about me.
No,
you
I
know
know
that
you.
I do not do that. I'm very compassionate.
You are. But yeah, it is hard to, especially in these scenes you're describing, to think of not having a reaction and staying calm.
So just let that sink in. Those two things happened. And one happened yesterday.
Yeah.
A 6-car. It may have been more than 6. If I could really start counting the cars, it was unbelievable what I saw.
And so when you say you practice this daily, is that through meditation or
So I do a Course in Miracles lesson daily.
Okay.
It's a big fat blue book, and you go through it one day at a time for the whole year, and then you repeat.
Oh, interesting.
And you go deeper and deeper into what I'm talking about. And so I also take time every morning to sit with various prayer books and just sit quietly. I have a beautiful yard. I sit on my back porch that Dan Kelly and I helped create together with beautiful plants given to us by friends. And I just sit there and I just sit. Then I go in the world and deal with the world. And I'm present for the world. But I'm in the world, but I'm not of the world. Okay? So you're in this illusion. You're working with people. You have things that you have to attend to on a practical level. But don't get lost in the dramas and get taken off your centeredness so that you can't fully function and be that light for everyone.
And if you get knocked off, what do? Just get back on?
Yes, the daily practice allows you to get back on. Yeah, you don't get mired in a helplessness feeling.
Yeah.
You realize that you have all that you would need always. So the more you study these things, spiritual tenets, the more you know that you are always fine. Right. Always 100%.
Right.
Even if shit is happening, you're fine.
I like that mindset.
Yeah.
Gotta work on it.
Gotta work on it. You gotta work on it.
You could change my life. I love it. And that's what we're doing here on the show, I think,
Yes.
People are getting some insights that maybe they haven't thought of before. All right. Well, I think we're good. If you want to wrap it up.
I think that was good. Yeah.
I think that was amazing.
Talk forever with you, Austin. You're so awesome.
Well, thank you. Well, that was fun. Well, if you guys haven't already subscribed to the Substack, it's Michael Pino and the number 2 on Substack. So go over there, search for him. You can subscribe. You can find all the other episodes of this podcast. They are also on YouTube, which Michael didn't even know. But
Austin is my media guy.
They are on YouTube. So anytime I upload them to Substack, they go right to YouTube. So if you prefer to watch on YouTube, you can find them there. Just search for Michael Pino or Living Your True Self podcast, and it should show up right there. So don't forget to subscribe. Yeah. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
I'm so excited.